Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and this is yet another episode of Dirty Devs, the series where we take a look at games and their developers who have proven beyond equivocation that they do not deserve your money or your time. This particular game that is being shown on your screen now is called Infiltration by RyuvsCloud. Now, I have dealt with these particular developers in the past, and they are fairly well known for their condescending attitude, far below bare minimum effort on their games, and for using mashups of different Unreal Engine assets in order to dupe people into paying actual money for their garbage games that typically feature horrendously bad controls and gameplay that is slightly less interesting than watching paint dry. And unfortunately, Infiltration is no different. The game sports what they call a prologue, claiming that the campaign will come in 2018, and yet this game for some reason is being sold as a completed title. And what little content there is within the game is a basic tutorial mode interspersed with 2 cutscenes. The controls are painful to make use of, and the developers proudly thumb their noses at any form of meaningful options menu. And while the graphics aren't bad, which is customary with many games running on the Unreal Engine, the developers had actually very little to do with its design. The game makes use of the main demo project that comes free with Unreal Engine 4 along with a few other demo packages. The enemies you find in the game are the animation content examples, again provided as part of the Unreal package. And while we can't call this game a direct asset flip, it is very near to it, as it seems these developers were completely incapable of crafting any of their own assets. Any level design is most likely stock Unreal packages as well, and even the cutscene is the Unreal Engine's tutorial sequence labeled Sequencer Subway. And to continue on with the litany of unoriginal assets, the cover art was lifted from Under Armour performance apparel, as was reported by fellow YouTuber I Am PattyJack. Now, this unoriginal and uninspired game features bare minimum functionality and, at its best, half-hour of gameplay. However, any form of enjoyment that can be found is not within the game's content, but within just how laughably inept it is. You cannot melee attack your opponents unless you get them to attack you first, which will allow you to engage the single, repetitive, and uninspired animation over and over again. But you do need to be careful with that. If you happen to get locked into that same tired and slow animation while another enemy happens to be nearby, then they will beat you to death while you suffer through the unskippable animation that the game forces on you. There's no puzzles to be found outside of an area where you have to go through some exceptionally easy jumping, except the game's extremely unresponsive and slow controls make even that a chore, and by the end of this half-hour experience, I was actually found myself wanting to break my keyboard in half with how horrendous this game actually was. Also, the game does support 1080p and up, but the developers weren't even capable of rescaling the text, so don't even bother trying it at higher resolutions unless you're far better at deciphering gibberish than I was. I would not recommend this title, even if the developers were paying people to play it as opposed to them actually charging money for cobbled together segments from the Unreal tutorial. As with every last game ever produced by RyuvsCloud that I've suffered through so far, I feel like this was a segment of my life that once parted with I can never get back, and I will forever mourn its passing. Do not buy this game. Do not support these developers. They have stolen a portion of my life that I deserve to have back, and I do not want you to suffer the same fate that I have. As always, don't forget to like and share. I apologize that this video is a little bit shorter, but it's kind of hard to come up with meaningful length of content with a half-hour long experience. I will be posting a curator review and a written review on the game's storefront to help people to avoid this travesty of a title. Of course, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.